Well, I would just like to pay tribute to a great leader, a world figure, who has strode the world stage with other great world leaders, President Bush, Chairman Gorbachev, myself. But of course it's axiomatic that all leaders must eventually, at some time in the long run, finally depart, with the odd, very rare exception.
Monday, I'll hand back Heseltine. Tuesday, well, I won, didn't I? Wednesday, no, never, I will not. Thursday, out, out, out. Friday, Maggie who? Scrap Saturday.
Tuesday, Paris. Dear Diary, I tell boss that Maggie is winged and is sure to go, but he is still besotted. Here's herself. Fair play. She's not letting it show, but I think Heseltine has her.
I wish I had her. She's magnificent. A doughty fighter, spirited, never say die.
She never knows when to lie down.
Oh, indeed, I think I might be able to change her on that particular issue.
Now, don't be upsetting yourself, boss. You've only the one change with you.
It's like being with history. I walk tall in her presence. She makes me feel big as the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, boss, look, you're going to destroy yourself.
And now, comedy with your favourite Stone Age family, the Flynns, in Meet the Flintstones.
Yabba dabba do, Wilma. Are the tea and sandwiches ready for Bertie Rubble and me yet?
Nearly, Porrick, dear.
Remember, you silly woman, don't butter both sides of the bread.
Of course not, dear.
Bertie and me have important business to discuss, don't we?
You bet, Porrick, about this boss of ours.
Are you boys hatching some plot against him again?
Sorry, Bertie, did you hear funny squeaking noises? Was it the door creaking, or is it Wilma interfering in men's business again?
Sorry, Fred, I forgot myself.
That's all right, love. Go and breastfeed some of the children, won't you? Well, Bertie, what do you say?
Well, Porrick, as you know, our boss is a great boss. I respect him a lot.
Oh, so do I. Wilma!
But I guess really you or me should be in charge.
I couldn't agree more.
Yes, dear?
How would you like to be the boss's wife, Wilma?
But he has his own wife, dear.
No, I meant if I was the boss.
But you are the boss, dear. You're my boss, and you always will be.
What do you think of that, Bertie?
Oh, gee, Porrick, I'm impressed. You're a born leader.
Born of my mother. She was doing proper woman's work.
Can I have another baby with you, Porrick?
Of course you can, Wilma. But you'll have to wait. I have to screw the boss first.
The noise and heat was keeping her awake. Bernie told herself this time and time again. But somehow the image of swarthy Alley piercing her virgin white linen nurse's uniform with his unrelenting gaze kept swimming before her eyes until she almost swooned. But no, it was nothing to do with his sad brown eyes, she told herself, or his sleek skin, or the taut, round buttocks that throbbed inside his Iraqi uniform. No, it was none of those things. It was the heat and noise of damned Baghdad. It was the pain and solitude of her incarceration here, a hostage in a hospital, a guest of the Gulf. Nurse Bernie longed for the cool breezes and soft accents of Barna, her native town. That night, Unable to sleep again, she wrote another anguished cry from this hellhole.
Dear Breed, thanks a million for your letter. I'm afraid the bottle of stag never got through because one of the alley babas spotted the bulge in the envelope and whipped it out. Good try, though. It's still cat here. Nothing to do all day long. We still have a bit of a skit. And Nolan said there's that many guards we should call it the Hotel Temple More. I tried to request Daniel O'Donnell on the local radio here, and they arrested me as a subversive. One of the guards got me out. I think he fancies me, but I'm having none of it. I don't have to tell you, of course, which of our crowd can't keep our hands off a single Arab in the place. None other than making a disgrace of herself as per usual.
Bernie paused to rest. Her friend Breed and she had shared so many adventures, been in so many schoolgirl scrapes together, that it seemed inconceivable they should be apart now. But Breed's marriage to Dr. Tom had put a pause, if not an end, to the headlong friendship between the two nurses. Bernie found that she did not always totally approve of Dr. Tom.
How's that shy talk of a husband of yours? He really gives me the sick, do you know that? Nose in the air and full of himself. I'd sooner be a hostage here than married to him.
Even as she wrote those hurtful lines, Bernie found herself wondering, were they really true? And a great sadness came over her.
God, this is Cat.
Suddenly, the door burst open. An envoy of the president stood there. Saddam himself had requested an Irish nurse to be his assistant on his new TV program. An Iraqi version of Blind Date that Saddam had already pre-sold to CNN and the major American networks. Bernie was chosen as the lucky girl to come on down, the envoy told her. Did she wish to appear on TV with the president? Bernie thought of the ruthless propaganda game she was being asked to be a part of. She thought of the crude opportunism involved. She thought of the deadly ambition of this man who was now asking her to debase herself to the world for his honor and glory. Bernie made her mind up quickly.
God, that'd be brilliant. When do we do it?
But little did Bernie know the twists and turns her life would take as a result of this decision, and how the peace of the world would ultimately depend on her.
Yo, baby, this is MN on FGFM, your TD DJ, morning, noon and night, and we all know which you love most, noonin. I'm afraid there wasn't much love in Leinster House this week. There's a lot of the old bang, bang, bang on the door. But your man was locked up in the room and he wouldn't come out. In fact, the last bang we heard was him putting the pistol to his own head. You know, a week is a long time in politics, but for Al 3 years was long enough. Too long. Poor old Al. Al got so out of fashion with us, we started calling him the Tala Square. There was a lot of old guff about putting the country first and being modern and social democratic and all of that. But Al doesn't understand the game at all. We in Fine Gael have asked you, what has this country ever done for Fine Gael? Ye put poor Austin Curry into third place. You can't expect us to put ye first. Not now. That's the end of the old social democracy caper. Of course, now FG is on the lookout for a shining new star. Well, I saw the light reflecting off my head the other night and thought, well, you wouldn't get anyone to shine brighter than myself. But I'd say it could be another senior frontbencher this time. We're united on this, both senior and junior members. No more Mr. Nice Guy. From now on, it's loyalty to the party and loyalty to the leader of the day, depending on who the leader is that day.
You've all failed me. A simple thing like getting a president elected, and I'm let down. I'm trying to get on with the business of striding the world stage, and you gobshites can't get our candidate into a shaggin' period des res near Castleknock.
Don't worry, boss. It doesn't matter, sure. You're still flying around the place. Sure, you were still able to get to Rome for the summit last week in the middle of it all. I mean, remember all the security men, the carabinieri?
Yeah, and a motorcycle escort.
Oh, jeez, there must have been 100 if there was one. It was like the Isle of Man TT with the motorbikes that was in it. And the Polizia, remember all the lads off the front of the Galliano bottles with the fancy dress hats on them and the coloured ribbons across their tits?
Yeah, there was that, of course. Better than the F and FCA with the same old green tat and the Alpha Bargains berries and the white webbing. Not, of course, that I have anything other than the greatest respect for the army. After all, my father was an officer. I myself was an officer.
It's me, boss. You don't have to tell me that stuff. Sure, I've no tape recorder. No, I'm sorry, Donald. That wasn't funny, boss. No, I'm only saying you'll always have the knockers and the big grudges, but we're above that. A European. Just imagine a Joey's boy hobnobbing with the best of them around the 7 hills of Rome.
And why not? After all, many of my people are of Italian extraction. It's not perhaps widely known that one of my ancestors was in fact Julius Caesar, and Garibaldi was a distant relative on my mother's side. I am 17th in line to the Doge of Venice, and my great-great-granduncle was a Medici, hence my great interest and patronage of the arts. I myself have a very fine collection of paintings and sculptures of myself. Many's the night as a young fella I would bang out a tarantella on the old mandolin with relatives in Lombardy and Tuscany, and Dean Martin was my best man. Aldo Haughey lived in Turmina, where he was a credit enforcer for a local firm, and I also have a couple of cousins who run an insurance business in Palermo. Great sportsmen, their reputations as marksmen with the Lupara, the local favoured shotgun, being near legendary, though Carlo, the elder lad, had a preference for cheese wire. So as anyone who knows me will confirm, Sicilian blood is very much in my veins. Europe, my Europe. This is Koholo Yoki for 88 FM.
Oh, molto bene, boss. Now, don't forget tonight's appointment for Chicken in the Rough at Bowango's Disco for the Drumnadreary Corla Doyle counter.
How can I soar like an eagle when I'm surrounded by turkeys?
I know, boss.
Unbelievable, yeah. It really is a wonderful exhibition.
Yes, Mike, and a very important one.
Of course, yeah. Now, that piece there is very striking, yeah, isn't it? Though a tad abstract, perhaps, would you say?
That's a fire extinguisher, Mike.
Wonderful, yeah. What's the title?
No, Mike, it's a fire extinguisher hanging on the wall.
Fire extinguisher hanging on the wall, indeed. The title is so evocative, isn't it, really? So redolent of a post-neo-ultra-crazy...
Mike. You see, it just happens to be hanging there.
Oh, naturellement, yeah. It could just as easily be stood on the ground or on a table, but the artist chose to hang it. Symbolic, perhaps, of hanging to our lives by a thread, do you think? Death by fire and all of that?
No, Mike, it's only there to put out fires.
Highly symbolic, I agree. Putting out fires. A sign of purification. That striking red motif, the cold, steely texture, and that hose effect, a phallic metaphor, of course. Who is the artist?
The fire brigade, Mike. Now, if you'll just come over here...
Really? So the boys
in
in the helmets, well, fair dues to them, that's what I say. They all got together, put their hearts and souls into it, and came up with this delightful exhibit.
It's not an exhibit, Mike.
Yeah,
no,
not an exhibit. Extraordinary, yeah, well... Just because they are firemen, perhaps? Disgraceful snobbery on the part of the organisers, I should have thought. In any other country of the world, that would be a winning award. If we had even...
No, Mike, the point is, it's not art.
Not art, indeed.
No.
Not at all.
No, I'm afraid not. It's just a fire extinguisher for use in the event of a fire. It has nothing to do with the exhibition at all.
Well, there you are, then, the incredible story of the fire extinguisher that everyone was fooled into thinking was part of that extraordinary exhibition of new Irish art, and caused a huge furore on the local art scene indeed. Strangely enough now, I did a little documentary on the fire brigade a few years ago, a sort of PR thing, and there was this charming fellow there.
Shop in Quinsworth this week, where you'll get all you need for the Gulf War. Gas masks, the kids will love them, for just $2.99. I Was a Baghdad Hostage t-shirt, only $5.99. Frighten your friends with real-life masks of Saddam Hussein for just $3.99. And of course, with every £20 worth of Goodman beef purchased, you get a Gulf War wall chart absolutely free. And don't forget, your full-colour map of the war zone with columns for you to fill in the dead. Disposable body bags and yellow-packed toy soldiers swimming in their own blood. Enjoy the Gulf War to the full in the comfort of your own home. Slaughter on TV? Try the Gulf War. Now that's real value.